So what is the best US state to be a dentist? The question I want to look at today is, are there certain states where it's better to be a dentist? Maybe there's less competition, maybe you can get paid more, maybe the insurance reimbursement rates are better. Today we're going to look at all of that and decide if you can live anywhere, where are you going to live as a dentist? I've had the opportunity to work with dentists from all over the country in basically every single state and look at practices for sale in almost every single state. I've noticed some very interesting trends where dentists are making more money in certain states and less money in other states, and I want to share that today. As a dentist, you can literally live anywhere you want. I have a friend who is an engineer, and he's a very specialized type of engineer, and I was talking to him. He can only live in one of 3 cities because he has to work in person, and there's only 3 companies where he's able to work with his specific specialty. When you're a dentist, you can live literally anywhere you want because everyone has teeth and everyone needs dental treatment. So I put together a map here that I want to show you that shows how many potential patients there are in each state per dentist. Now this map is based upon data that's freely available from the ADA. All I've done is put this data together in a way that makes it a little easier to read, and I've created a map and color coded the states from red to green based on how much competition there is in those states. So as you can see here in this map, the green states have more potential patients per dentist. So for instance, in California, if you take the total population divided by the number of dentists that live in California, you're going to get 1,287. That means that for every practicing dentist, there are a potential of 1,287 patients per dentist. Now, obviously, in real life, some dentists are going to get more patients than that, and some are going to get less, depending on how much the patients like you and how good you are. If you're great, you might have double, triple that. If you're not good, you might not have that many patients coming to see you, and you might have a lot less than that. So I just want to go through a few states here. In Texas, there's 1,846 patients per dentist. In New York, there's 1,384. Now, if you're willing to live in the Southeast, in a state like Arkansas, there's 2,425 potential patients per dentist. That's close to double the number of potential patients as in California. The most competitive states tend to be the states that have large cities. California has Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco. Illinois has Chicago. Obviously, New York has New York City. Colorado has Denver. Honestly, kind of what you'd expect. Because dentists can work and live anywhere they want, the places that are seen as the more favorable places to live, there are going to be more dentists that want to move there and live there. Obviously, California is a really nice place to live. The weather is great. There's all sorts of things to do there. Dentists want to move to California. Also the same with Colorado. You know, the mountains, go snow skiing in the winter, go hiking in the summer. Lots of dentists want to move to Colorado. Of course, a place like New York, a lot of people want to move to New York City. Same with somewhere like Washington, D.C. Lots of nice places to walk, lots of free museums. People just like Washington, D.C., they like New York, they like Boston, they like Philadelphia. They want to live in these cities. And because dentists can live anywhere they want, there's going to be more dentists in these types of places. Obviously, if you're looking on a city-to-city basis, these numbers are going to be even more exaggerated between the competitive areas and the least competitive areas. Even in a state like California, there's going to be some places like San Francisco that are incredibly competitive, and there's going to be some more rural areas that I don't even know the name of that there's probably not that many dentists that it's going to be not competitive at all. Now, I also want to show you another map, which I found extremely interesting. This map is going to show the average income for a dentist living in that state. Initially looking at this map, it's actually kind of counterintuitive. My initial thoughts would be, well, the areas that are more competitive are going to have lower dentist incomes because it's more competitive. But if you look at this map, actually what you're going to see is that the same states that had lower competition also tend to have lower incomes for dentists in those states. On the other map, we had red meant more competition and green meant less competition. On this map, we have red means lower income and green means higher income. Now, I wouldn't look too closely at these exact income numbers because the way that dentists report their income, you're often able to take all sorts of tax deductions and things that make your taxable income look lower than it actually is. Especially when you're a business owner, there are various various tax strategies you can do in order to lower your income. So use this as a general comparison, not as an absolute number. But let's look at a state like California. While California is one of the more competitive states to work in, the income is still on average $187,000 per year, which on this scale is really not that bad. On the other hand, if we look at Arkansas, which we already saw is the least competitive state to work in as a dentist, the average income is only $157,000. That's about $30,000 less per year than if you were working in California. Another example is New York, which is one of the most competitive states to work in. The average income is $207,000. Comparing that to something like Alabama, which was low competition, you're only going to be making $172,000 on average. So in order to sum up what we're seeing here with these two maps, if you live in the Southeast, there's going to be less competition, but you're going to be making less money because the insurance fee schedules are lower. This means that in order to make more money, you're going to have to see more patients, which because there is less competition in these areas, you're going to be able to see more patients, but you're going to be making less money each patient that you see. If you live on the West Coast or in the Northeast, especially in a big city, you're going to be seeing fewer patients because there's more competition, but the insurance fee schedules are significantly higher and you're going to be making more money per patient. Because the cost of living is going to be higher in places like California, New York, Washington, even though the average dentist is going to be making more money than someone living in the Southeast like Tennessee or Arkansas, they're probably going to live a fairly similar quality of life. The same can be said for someone living in the South. On average, the insurance fee schedules are going to be a little bit lower, but it's going to be less expensive to hire a hygienist, hire an assistant, hire a front desk person. If you live in Arkansas, you might be able to hire a hygienist for $30 to $35 an hour. But if you live in California or if you live in Alaska or New York City, you might be paying $60, $70, $80 per hour for that same hygienist doing the same exact work. So ultimately, it doesn't really matter where you live as a dentist because it's all basically going to balance out no matter where you live. Let's say you're living somewhere like Georgia, where the average income is $160,000 per year, and you say, hey, I'm going to move to Massachusetts because the average income is $207,000 per year. Sure, it sounds like a lot of money, $47,000 per year. But the problem is, once you get there, you're going to find out that it's more expensive to live there. And when you want to own your own practice, it's going to be more expensive to hire employees, et cetera, et cetera. The expenses are going to be higher. Cost of living is more expensive. In the end, your quality of life is probably going to be pretty much the same. Now, this is great news. If you want to move, you can, and you can be fairly confident that no matter where you move in the US, you are going to be able to find a good job. You're going to be able to have a good income. So if I'm looking at where I want to live, my first question is not going to be how much do dentists make there or how competitive is it in that area. Ignore all that. It really doesn't matter. Find a place that you actually want to live. Maybe that's where your family lives. Maybe that's where your friends are. Maybe you just really like that area of the country. Maybe it's an area that you've always wanted to live and now you finally have the chance to actually move there and get a good job. As a dentist, you have an incredible opportunity where you can live anywhere that you want to live and still make very good money. So now let's say you're a dentist and you're making average money, $180,000 a year, and you decide you want to make more money. You want to do better than average. So we've decided that moving to another state or to another city probably isn't the answer. You're probably not going to be making that much more money if you move. But what if instead there was a way to make an additional $150,000 on average more where you are right now, or you can move somewhere else and make that much money? If you go from being an associate, working for someone else, working for another dentist, working for a corporation, it doesn't matter, whoever you're working for, you go from working for someone else to working for yourself. If you buy the right practice, you can easily go from making $180,000 a year to making $350,000 a year or more. I've seen it happen time and time again. When I went from being an associate to being an owner, my income went up significantly more than that $150,000 per year. And you can probably go from working 5 days a week to 4 or 3.5 days a week if you want, while still making more money. So conclusion, what's the best state to live in? Live where you want to live, become a practice owner, and everything is going to work out. You can find amazing opportunities to become a practice owner in literally every state. I know because I have worked with dentists in basically every single state all across the country, and There's always practices for sale. There's always great opportunities. Or if you want to work a crappy associate job, they have those in every state too. I mean, Aspen Dental has locations in 45 different states. You can do $5 exams anywhere you want. Ultimately, you make your own success. Quit making excuses. If only I moved to this other state. Oh, because I live here, I can't make enough money, blah, blah. That's just not true. I've seen dentists be extremely successful literally all over the country. I live in Tennessee, where the average dental income is $172,000 a year. I know 5 dentists within driving distance of my house that are making more than $1 million per year. I'm not talking producing $1 million. I'm talking bringing home more than $1 million per year. 5 of them within driving distance of my house. If you want to make money, figure out how to run your business and then go and make some money. You can live anywhere you want. You can choose your own schedule. You can choose where you work. You can choose how you want to work. You just have to go out and do it. If you're not yet the owner of your own practice, the best way to get into practice ownership is going to be buying an existing practice. If you do a startup, it could take you years and years to reach profitability. If you buy the right practice, you can make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in your first year of ownership. And that's after paying back the practice loan. Quit sitting around and making excuses. Oh, if I could only live somewhere else, then I'd be successful. Just get out there and make it happen.